What's up, everybody? Legacy back with episode 2 of The Climb here on Critical Points. Each week, I will have a new guest on, whether it's an influencer, someone in the industry, a content creator, or a pro player. And today on the show, I have Khang Ties. Khang, say what's up.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going?
So, welcome to the show, and thank you for being on and taking your time off during this busy week. So let's start it off. Why don't you give us a brief introduction of yourself and what you do?
Sure. So, again, my name is Kang. I've kind of been in mobile gaming, kind of the mobile consumer product scene for a little while now. I started off kind of get into it doing product marketing at ASUS. Kind of doing their phones. We helped to launch like the Zen phone, Zen Phone 2, Zen Phone Laser. And then I joined a small startup in San Francisco called Nextbit that launched a cloud first smartphone, which was like totally new and really exciting. Great team there. And then joined Razer and helped to launch the Razer Phone 1, the Razer Phone 2. So during my time, I've worked in a little bit of esports and sponsored some teams. Really working with developers and partners to help promote not only their products and services but our own. So that's kind of what I do.
Right on. So
Yeah.
what kind of drew you to like the mobile side of things? Was that something that you wanted to do, or was that like an initiative that they had created and they kind of put that in your lap?
You mean for Razer or
Just
for?
in general.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of it didn't start off that way, right? It kind of just fell into my lap a little bit, and what I always had a passion for was consumer products, and I always was an Android fan and kind of like an enthusiast. So I would like tweak my phone, run like custom ROMs on it, and kind of like grew from there. And so when I had the opportunity to launch all these phones, it was sort of like, hey, I'm doing this and it's like fun for me and it's like my passion and I get to talk to the community about it, talk about the products, talk about like games that people could play on their phones. And this was like 5 years ago, and the scene for mobile gaming is really different than now than what it was back then. So I'd like to say that I was not necessarily there from the beginning, but helped to amplify the things that we're doing and help accelerate the things that the industry was doing.
Yeah, you had mentioned that the things 5 years ago were different, than obviously than they are now. So, with the landscape of mobile growing year to year, what would you like to see from either content creators, players, tournament organizers to help kind of improve the culture of mobile?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's really multifaceted because the industry has so many players, right? And it really takes everyone's involvement to make it work and succeed. Things I've seen are that everyone's kind of like siloed off. You have content creators doing their own thing, the developers doing their own thing, players doing their own thing, tournament organizers like launching these huge services, and now that's like being really affected with recent circumstances, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then you have carriers that need to get involved, right? And should. They have a really unique position. But to start from the top, I think from a content creator perspective, you guys are like doing exactly what you need to be doing, right? You're building a community, you're educating people, and you're giving more people the, I guess, I guess you could say, courage to pursue that line of work. Um, for me, like I was always kind of not fearful, but more hesitant on like streaming and creating content. But watching other people do it and wanting to try it out for myself, I think that's like, um, it helps to encourage people to try something new, and I think that's really exciting for mobile because it's still pretty young in terms of an industry. So I think what you guys, like I said, what you guys are doing is great. And we what we don't need though are influential people saying that mobile gamers aren't real gamers, or
Oh,
something
absolutely.
ridiculous like that. Even if it's like a joke, everyone kind of knows it's a joke, but it doesn't help anyone, right? Um, that's just the kind of negativity that we don't really need. So yeah, but from a player perspective, I think more players need to become content creators and use their abilities to grow the community. Sometimes I think pro players, and then this goes for PC too. Um, I think they just want to be the best player, right?
Mhm.
And that's great. That's great. I get it. It's great to a point, but you don't really help to you know grow your organization. You don't really help to grow your personal brand. I don't think you do those things any favors. And it's kind of being one dimensional. And although some people might argue that that's like how you become the best player in the world or whatever,
Mhm.
um, you know, I think what we need to do, at least from from the west side of things, it does. You need to kind of expand, right? You need to kind of do these things that help to educate people and show how mobile gaming and mobile esports is really really exciting to be a part of and to play more games on your phones or your tablets or whatever and because that's just going to help get the ball rolling out here. You look at the in the east, everyone's on a phone, everyone's playing games. They're light years ahead of where we are, and I think it's kind of like a cultural thing that I think we need to get over, and that's just going to take some time. But I think eventually people are going to recognize that.
Mhm.
From a tournament organizer perspective, like I don't think things will ever be the same for tournament organizers. I think it's always their responsibility, I think, to make those kind of events accessible and entertaining. But you know, it's going to be so hard now with what's going on. I think people are going to be really reserved and hesitant to invest a lot of money in high production events. I think we're going to see more things happening online, at least for a while. Um, but you know, I think that there are other parties involved too, right? The
Mhm.
developers. I think developers need to really support their community better, right? And give a sustainable, scalable platform for competitive play. One example, and it's not mobile related, but it's like Smash. I think Nintendo is probably one of the only developers that doesn't really support the competitive scene for Smash. And a lot of the players have to sort of fund tournaments themselves, and it's it could be so much more, right?
Mhm. That's a huge
Um,
community. The FCG
right?
community is huge.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of odd that they wouldn't want to, even though it's niche in a way. But I think as a developer, you want to foster that relationship with your community. I mean, these people are your customers, right?
Mhm.
Like you would think that you would want to do things that really help, um, you know, bring in more fans to your own brand and your games. So I think from a developer perspective, I think more developers have that opportunity to engage with their community in these kind of ways.
Yeah.
Um, from OEMs and like Razer, right? This is like I can't talk for Razer, but I can say that OEMs have that responsibility to always try to bring the best tech and hardware to the masses, right?
Mhm.
You want to give the users like the best experience possible, the ones that they want, and how do you bring that in terms of quality, performance, design, and lastly, like affordability? Because you can't keep making these $1,500 phones,
Nope.
right?
Nope.
Even though they might be the best spec phone, they might run a game really great. that just excludes so many people from being able to play, right?
Mhm.
So, giving people an option that is more accessible, I think is awesome and would be the next step for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
and then yeah, and then lastly, I think the carriers. Um, I think T-Mobile is dabbling in esports, but and AT&T as well. I haven't seen much from some of the other guys, but I think that's a huge opportunity for carriers to get into the mobile esports and mobile gaming mix. I don't think enough stories have been, told from these guys, and they have so much money and power, right? And it makes so much sense, right? Like, your all phones need some kind of data plan or something like that, and I think the carriers really haven't catered to this community very much, if at all. And I think that's just like the next step. I think a lot of talks are happening right now. Sometimes they'll carry uh, accessories in their stores, which help with gaming, but I don't, I don't think there's like one sort of cohesive front from all these guys, and they have a huge responsibility, I think, to grow the industry because they have a huge customer base, right?
Very huge, very
And
huge.
right, so yeah, I think it'll just take some more time for people to realize that this is the way gaming is going. Um, and yeah, really excited for it. Sorry, that was a really long answer, but
No, it's all right.
yeah, yeah,
That's why we're here. That's why we're
yeah,
here.
yeah,
So you did talk about the difference between the West and the East, and
yeah.
I kind of wanted to bring that up to my next topic,
Hmm.
the market. So demographically, I think NA for mobiles is completely behind the SEA and all those regions.
Hmm.
Is there like a different market that we need to be watching how they do things? You see, Garena's got Call of Duty mobile tournaments and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what does maybe NA need to be doing differently? Because it is cultural. Or what markets should tournament organizers really reach out to?
Well, you know, in thinking about this a little bit more, I think we should be looking at India as a really hotbed for mobile gaming and
Yeah, they
seeing
just
what they're
have
doing.
Fnatic and TSM now and PUBG Mobile.
Right. Exactly, right? I think people are turning their heads towards India because one, the user base is huge. And
Huge.
yeah, super talented, really you know, s- super talented players for one. And I think that just the saturation for mobile devices could be could be like huge there, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think sort of an industry perspective, like Android One from Google, I think India is one of their biggest targets, like developing cheaper, more affordable devices is really important for that region. And I think mobile gaming and esports is just like primed to explode there. And North America really needs to just take a look and be like, what are they doing from, a carrier, retailer perspective, from the TO side of things. Again, like I don't really know what's going to happen with you know brands and organizations and companies like ESL, um, that host these huge events. Um, I think the developer is going to have to find another way to promote competitive play, and I think that either it's going to be like hosting more online events,
Hmm.
is just going to be the near term solution. So it's kind of crazy, and it's a bummer. It's a real bummer because being at an event with your friends and um, in a huge crowd. I think that's really exciting. And, I've been to quite a few of them now. But yeah, it's just a huge loss. But like I said, North America really needs to like catch up,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean, PCs and consoles, they're yeah, of course they're getting better and better, and it's a great experience. But mobile is getting better and better, and it's an excellent experience. And if you haven't, for those out there that haven't, played, Call of Duty or PUBG or even Brawl Stars, like excellent game. Um, Armajet, another one. I think there are a lot of games out there that just like need more people to see, and I think one of the issues is that it's not in front of people's faces enough, I think. There are
Hmm.
a ton of players, but we're all playing at home or we're
Hmm.
all playing on the go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's not in a setting where the masses really
Hmm.
can understand
Yeah.
like what's happening,
Yeah, because all the advertising is really only done on the online events. Like, there's
Right.
no advertising done through, any other platform. It doesn't have to be TV, it could be,
Yeah.
social media, YouTube, just putting ads in there. But I only
Yeah.
see advertising for mobile games is when you're watching a mobile event. So I definitely
Right.
agree with you 100% right there.
Yeah.
So I guess to my next question, and you kind of touched on this earlier,
Hmm.
but in your own opinion, how can someone raise their own stock when pursuing a sponsorship deal, whether it's an affiliate, hybrid, or full time sponsorship,
Yeah.
or just getting their self eyes
Yeah.
on them?
Right. And I think one, it's a really interesting question because I think there's a lot of news around people and winning, money, and you got these logos slapped all over jerseys. It's something that's very aspirational, but I think it's sort of the wrong message that you want to send players and gamers, right?
Hmm.
Because eh, I think what you lose sight of is that like whatever you're doing, you should make it as high quality as possible and create that positive experience for yourself and your fans, right? That should come first.
Hmm.
If you're not like having fun, if people aren't having fun watching you, then it's like all for naught, right? You're not
Hmm.
helping anyone. And so if you're just starting out, you know, be humble, work your ass off, and like it'll show, right? Sponsors will come looking for you. You
Exactly.
don't need it. Yeah, you don't need to look for sponsors. If you're doing what you need to be doing, creating content, educating people, having fun, bringing a lot of people, to you to have fun. I think sponsors just be like, hey, yeah, definitely, like this guy or this girl, they're gonna be awesome, and
Hmm.
they should be a part of our family.
Hmm.
So I just want to be like super realistic and about gaming and sponsorship. That if one of your goals is money, then you're probably setting yourself up to be
Oh
disappointed,
yeah, you're setting
right?
yourself up for failure.
Yeah, making money in this line of work isn't easy. There are only like, a handful of like YouTubers that make a ton of money. And people like they want to do it, but they don't realize how much work it takes. One example is MKBHD, right? Huge fan. I'm a huge fan of his for a long time now. And he started off like as this kid who had a crappy camera, but he started doing this, like these reviews, and look where he is today. Look how much time that took.
Hmm.
And I think people come in and they're thinking, oh, I just need a great camera. I just need a great editor or something like that. But
Hmm.
creating content every day or every week, that's hard, and you know
Oh
right?
yes, yes, yes.
So for someone to come in and look for sponsorships, just start out like finding your niche, what makes you unique, and what makes you fun, to watch,
Hmm.
and those sponsorships are going to come,
Yeah.
but they should not be the priority there.
I think you touched on something very important there. Adding value, like by having teaching people things, whether you're a pro player or not, or a content creator. I think adding that value and then having that fun interaction. Because I see a lot. I watch some streams every now and then, but I'll be honest, as a casual person, I get bored just watching someone zone in and then try hard the whole time with no interaction
Yeah.
on their stream. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
it's definitely adding the value to your player to people that are watching you is huge. Whether it's maybe you do something different than
Hmm.
someone else, or maybe you have a unique perspective. I think
Yeah.
that's what brings people back.
Yeah,
So,
you look at like content creators like Powerbang, yeah, Ash
mhm,
from you know, oh gosh, Clash Royale, right?
mhm.
I think those guys are just like killing it, right? They're always bringing something to the table, really helping people, and they've been doing it for a long time now. That's like a great model to follow. And I'm watching new streamers, you know, come up. And one guy I watch, his name's Chris Kavartek. He's a Magic the Gathering pro, and he started his stream just like last week. His first stream,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, yeah, and it was really fun to watch. He had hundreds of people like watching, and he didn't, and I guess he didn't expect that to happen. But what made his stream fun was that not it wasn't just him like talking about the game, but he had his buddy Bob, who could answer questions from the fans. Talk about the game, what's happening in the industry, what's happening, the state of the game. People were asking for deck lists. I mean, they were providing deck lists for
Oh,
analysis.
wow.
There's like there's lots of stuff that's happening, and then even though he's just started a stream, he's already talking about doing these like different segments where um you know he could play with a like a submitted deck from a fan, or and
Oh,
just
that's see,
play
that's
ranked with it.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. So like, that's awesome. And then you get your deck played from a pro. Like, and what I'm saying is that more content creators need to think of unique ways to engage their fans,
Mhm.
and that's just like awesome. That should be your goal.
Definitely, definitely. See, that's that user engagement right there is so important. And just
Absolutely.
just saying hi to someone in the
Yeah.
chat,
Yeah.
it makes their day.
Yeah.
So I have a fun question for you. I know I sent you the questions beforehand,
Mhm.
and it was kind of vague, but this question is specifically actually for you.
Okay.
Would you rather be a competitive player or a content creator?
Oh man. Oh, I think I misread your question
No,
or misunderstood.
you did, and I did it on
Yeah.
purpose because,
Yeah.
I wanted one funny question to be in there.
Yeah. I guess for me, I think I would want to be a content creator. I wish. Okay. The thing is, for me, like I always dreamed of being a great storyteller. I'm a crappy storyteller. Yeah, I'll just put it out there, right? My stories kind of ramble on and stuff, and I think people who listen to this will probably say the same. Um, but I think storytelling is really exciting. And I think a content creator does exactly that. They storytell. Um, it's a lot of hard work, right? And no, if you're not trying hard, then you're not doing your job. But I think a content creator has the ability to affect a lot of people, and educate a lot of people. I think a competitive player can be a content creator, but I think it's kind of like they're a step removed from the fans.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that a content creator can just really make art in a way, and that's exciting. I think to me, more than being a competitive player.
See, that's cool. I would have never known that unless I asked. I know you probably thought like, what is better, competitive or a content creator? Me personally, I
Yeah,
think a content creator is better. Like, I think they can provide more value for people.
yeah,
But being a pro player also has its perks as well.
yeah.
Um, I guess lastly, any sneak peeks from Razer that we can hear about? And it doesn't have to even be mobile related, just be in
Mhm.
general.
Um, I can't really talk about stuff that's related to our products or services, any kind of future-looking stuff. But what I can say is that people who aren't familiar with Razer and the things that we do should really pay attention this year. I think, especially because of the circumstances of what's happening in the world now. I think what Razer does best is give people um, that opportunity to escape, and find joy in things other than the things that are happening outside. Um, I think we do a really good job, you know, creating those products for people to help them, you know, find some kind of happiness. So I think, you know, although I can't talk about, you know, those future products, I think people who are excited about mobile gaming should pay attention. I think that's what I can
Ooh,
say.
I like that. That's good enough for me. That is good
Cool,
enough
cool.
for me. So
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about? Any shout outs you want to give? Maybe your social media accounts. Go ahead.
People don't need to follow me. I think where they get the most value is following people like you. So huge shout out to you for doing this. I think, you know, mobile gaming is really exciting. It still has a long way to go, and I think yourself, the people that are in our network, are doing exactly what they need to be doing. I just think that there are external, you know, players that really need to, you know, pay attention to you, to Jeff, to Ash, Powerbang. I think there's a huge opportunity to just kickstart this and ignite a fire for this industry, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, thank you for being on the show, man. I really appreciate you taking your time out. And I am Legacy, 4 Critical Points, saying thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And we're saying peace.